Hi all, Kevin here. I wanted to kind of get back into the knot series that I started a couple of years ago and it fell by the wayside. And to that end, I kind of wanted to film a new intro to it while I'm out here in the snow. A little bit about my background. I've got a background in doing some rigging when I was in construction, and I was in the Navy, and I was a sailing instructor for a while. I was in sailboats. I worked with 4 or 5 different units of scouts, and I taught them all their knots and their lashings and their rigging and all that kind of thing, and their pioneering skills. And so I've got a little bit of background in rope work and things like that. A little bit of climbing, a little bit of rescue, that kind of thing, but not a lot of any of that. So with that being said, I kind of want to talk about knots and why they fail, and then we'll actually get into the meat of the act. I'll probably go back inside for that. There are really only about 4 reasons that knots fail. They're tied wrong. They're tied in the wrong material. They're used wrong. And the material or the knot itself becomes damaged. And those are really the 4 reasons why knots fail. With that being said, I think we'll probably move back inside and do some knot tying. All right, today we're going to talk about the Bowline. This knot has been documented, I think, as far back as about 1691 or so. It was originally referred to as the bowling knot, the B-O-L-I-N-G knot. Some folks say Bowline, some folks say Bowline, some folks say Bowline. It's actually the Bowline. If you get around seafarers, they call it the Bowline. And this is where that knot was originally used. It was used as a mooring and hauling and so on and so forth line. This actually puts a loop in the end of your line, or somewhere in your line, that will not slip. Direction of pull on this line is going to be kind of important, and it's a knot that lends itself to having constant tension on it. That being said, let's tie the bowline. You're going to start with an overhand loop. Consider that up there, away from the camera. That's going to be called the standing part of your line. That's the part of the line that's not actively used in the tying of the knot. Consider that as the long end, if you will, whatever. The other end of your line is going to be called the running end of the line. That is actively used in tying the knot. Let me move this down here a little bit. All right. And get just a little bit more room so I can make a bigger loop. I'll show you this up against the wall here in a second. All right. So you have that overhand loop. The running end of your line is going to come up through the bottom of that loop. It's going to go around behind the standing part of your line, like this. Get just a little bit of slack here. And then it's going to come over the top and back down through that overhand loop. Now, the way to tighten this knot, a lot of people screw this up because they pull on the wrong part of the loop. They either pull here or just one of these lines down here. You want to grab both of these lines and give it a tug, both directions, standing part and running part. And there you have the standard bowline. Pull this down just a little bit. You have your loop, and then the actual knot. All right. Now, what things I want you to take note of is the standing part of your line. The running end is going to go around behind that after coming up through this overhand loop. All right. If you have tied this correctly, the running end of your line will be inside the loop. And no matter how much tension you put on this, you can actually just loosen it up by giving a tug on this loop right here, and that will loosen the knot up. Now I'm going to hang this on the wall here and give you an overall view of it. This is what your standard bowline should look like if it is tied correctly. You will have the standing part of the line. Consider this the long end or the part that's already tied off to something else. On the standing part, you will come down and you will have this overhand loop. You will have the running end of the line, which will pass up through the overhand loop, behind the standing part, and back down through the overhand loop. If you've tied the standard bowline correctly, you will have this configuration right here. This will be how you loosen the knot once it gets a little bound up or a little tight. It will not ever bind completely. You can always break it free with that loop. And your running end will end up inside the loop if you have tied your standard bowline correctly. And remember, just because it looks like a bowline doesn't make it a bowline. And a modified knot is a knot tied wrong. Talk to y'all later. Thanks for watching.